Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So glad that you could be here. And as you can hear, the music is incredible. Our prayers will be incredible. And this will only work if you bring your voices with ours so that we can all have an amazing, energetic Shabbat together. Sing with us.
Yada Good Shabbos. So Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel talks about this idea that when we are worshiping and really to get the most out of our worship and our prayer, we need to be in a space and a place that's familiar, but also take ourselves out of our comfort zone, to have an element of spontaneity, of the unfamiliar, to push ourselves to what? To connect to one another, to the day, to the mission, to the divine. And the hope is that that's what happens tonight. We are certainly in a safe, comfortable place, a place where we know where and who we are, and we're going to push ourselves a little bit tonight. But the hope is that we are not just pushed, but pulled, and in doing so, act as an elevator for ourselves, the people around us, the music, the prayers, to reach a particular state of being. What is that? Shabbat.
Amen.
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 Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
We're very happy to be here. We're Hello, Goodbye, and Peace Ensemble. I think all of us know hello, goodbye, and peace are the three meanings of the Hebrew word shalom. And so in addition to that feeling of Shabbat, we also want you to feel that feeling of shalom. All of the music that you'll hear tonight are original compositions. I wrote them over a number of years, and I'm actively writing new ones every single day. So if you haven't heard them before, that's correct. You haven't heard them before. These songs started as my spiritual practice, my response as a rabbi and as an educator at the Davis Academy to the meaning that I found in Jewish prayers and in traditional Jewish teachings. But they've grown from there, and every person who is standing beside me tonight, and I hope all of you, will enrich these songs through your engagement, whether that's listening, whether that's attempting to sing, even though the melodies are unfamiliar, whether that's thinking about whether you feel that the musical setting matches your interpretation of the words. However you want to engage with us and with this music, that's the invitation that we're extending you tonight. The dream and the vision and the hope that I have is that one day there would be a community that was well versed in these songs and that we could sing them joyfully and wholeheartedly and full-throatedly together, and we could lift up our voices in song, and we could be not congregants and band, but we could all be in the band. So if you want to be in the band, you're in the band. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to prove yourself. I'm not singing into the microphone. You aren't either. So I want to just briefly introduce my sister-in-law, Julia Filson, who will be playing the violin this evening, Caroline Goldberg, who's a teacher at the Davis Academy and just a lovely vocalist that I've had the privilege of sharing this music with. A lot of this music was written with Caroline's singing voice in mind. Next to Caroline is Melvin Miles, who spends most of his prayerful time at Ebenezer Baptist Church, where he's a soloist in their choir, but he and I have become quite close through music. And hiding in the back, though you will surely hear him and feel him, is Emra Kotan, who is one of the most highly regarded and sought-after percussionists in the city. So we're very happy to be here. All of these songs were also written with the idea that hearing them once, they'd be instantly knowable to you. So they're simple, hopefully they're a little bit catchy, and hopefully you feel like you've maybe even heard some of them before. If you go to the Davis Academy, you have heard some of them before, but not all of them. And so with no further ado, we'll share some music. If you would be so kind as to turn to page 132 in our Siddur. For Kabbalat Shabbat, we will select two texts. They are both on page 132. For reasons that I won't bore you with, we're going in reverse order. And so we'll start at the bottom of page 132, where you find the words Or Zarua Lat Tzadik Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Seems that there are a couple of books underneath each seat. One is a Tanakh. I would recommend saving that one for your Torah study and instead grabbing the Siddur, the smaller of the two. Page 132 at the bottom. And then after we sing Or Zarua, we'll sing page 132. The first line, the middle paragraph, the words are Ohave Adonai Sinura. And maybe we'll talk about that briefly after this first piece. So please sing with us. Please participate in whatever way feels comfortable, and I will stop talking now. Since the words, first of all, you sound amazing. You guys sound amazing too. This ensemble, while all of them have participated before, we've never performed as a quintet together. Performed isn't the right word. We've never made music together as a quintet, so anything could happen. I want to just mention briefly and teach you the words because these are perhaps a little less common. I'm not familiar with other melodies to the words that we're about to sing. On page 132, the first line of the middle paragraph, Ohave Adonai, Sinu Ra. 4 words, and those words have some heavy hitters. They have the word love, hate, God, and evil. Love, hate, God, and evil. If we profess to love God, we must also reject, shun, negate the evil in the world. We can't say that we love God and then be a bad partner, a bad child, a bad colleague, a bad student. We can't have it both ways. I appreciate the moral clarity of Jewish tradition in a world that is often morally ambiguous, and I think that those 4 words, Ohave Adonai, Sinu Ra, encapsulate the essence of Jewish morality.
Sinura. Let us hear you.
Ohave, Ohave, Ohave Adonai. Sinura, 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 Sinura. So Shabbat is something that we anticipate, that we look forward to. I know that I do every Saturday night. I'm sad, not just because the weekend's ending, but because there's something magical that's in Shabbat, that's something that's anticipatory, that we want to have in our lives, and we wish it could be there 7 days a week. But it can't. And so we have this waiting, this desire for Shabbat to come back into our lives. And so with L'chadodi, this prayer of desire, of anticipation, of the ultimate moments of love and beauty, we connect that desire with that rest and create Shabbat.
As you might know from L'chadodi, there are 9 verses. We'll do the traditional Reformed tradition of 1, 2, 5, and 9. It should be ample opportunity for all of us to feel comfortable singing at least the refrain. And if you want extra credit, the verses in between.
L'chadodi likrat halal, penei Shabbat nekabela, nekabela. L'chadodi likrat halal, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shemor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiluchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Hashem u'tiferet ve'letila. Join together. L'chadodi likrat halal, penei Shabbat
Mikabla, Mikabla.
l'chadodi
We rise and face the entrance to the sanctuary.
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha uv'zola. Tov Emanu-El, am segula, boi kala.
We face forward.
Sing together.
Page 146, Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Repeat that with us.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Your turn to join. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
You shall love Adonai your God you shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, you shall love your God. Said these words, oh these words, oh these sweet, precious words, said them on your heart. Said these words, oh these words, oh these sweet, sacred words, said them on your heart. You shall love, you shall love, you shall love your God.
In this season of freedom, in this season of liberation that we are in as we approach Pesach, we combine all of those joys that we have as we gather for Seder with the knowledge that we are not entirely free, and this world is not entirely free, and that our job as liberators and seeking liberation does not end this Shabbat, this Pesach, or even this year, but it is something we must relive and revisit and redo each and every day. Micha Mocha, page 158.
I don't want anybody to get scared, so we're going to pick it up a little bit. I just don't want to catch you off guard.
Sing with us. These are the easy words.
Yeah, you're all making us want to keep going. So we come now to a part of the service that's traditionally the Amidah. I'm sure those who are regular synagogue goers are familiar. A series of prayers that are recited together, sort of the classic model of alone but together, very Jewish, right? Our individual prayers in a communal context. What some don't know is that in many communities in the evening, when it's dark, when it's quiet, when perhaps we're starting to wind down our day and maybe have a lot that we still need to process, these prayers are often recited silently. And so we're going to honor that tradition of a silent recitation this evening with one caveat, which is that we're going to provide a musical soundtrack. We're going to sing a song that I wrote as I guess a kind of creative writing exercise, thinking if I were to gather all of the different thoughts and prayers of, I don't know, the folks sitting in your section at opening day at the Braves game or something like that, or you're riding on the MARTA for those who have been on the MARTA lately, the folks who are sitting on the train with you, what kind of thoughts and prayers, what kinds of triumphs and tragedies, what kinds of hopes and dreams and disappointments are going through the minds of a person? And so the song is meant to kind of bring all of those different voices together, the grandeur, the triumph, the sorrow, the disappointment, all of those things, and allowing us to find our space somewhere in between. It's called With All My Heart. All That's in My Heart. I don't even know the name of the song. And so if you want to open this to yours, if you want to stand, whatever feels comfortable. Again, as Rabbi Spike said, we're stretching, so whatever feels
Help me find the words to express all that's in my heart. Words of praise and thanksgiving, all that's in my heart. Help me find the words to express all that's in my heart. Words of hope and words of fear, all that's in my heart. 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 All that's in my heart.
Help me find the words to express all that's in my heart. Words of rebuke and comfort, all that's in my heart. Words of sweetness and bitterness, of compassion and tyranny. Words that blind with rage. Words that help me see. Words that help me see. All that's in my heart. All that's in my heart. All that's in my heart. All
be seated. Rabbi Max and I were talking and about how much we enjoy Caroline's beautiful singing, Melvin's beautiful singing, the music, and he said, don't you think we should have Melvin sing another song while he's here? And wouldn't people be kind of upset if, he didn't? And we said, yeah, you're probably right. Who knows when we'll be back around. So knowing that the theme was Passover and liberation and freedom in this season, Melvin and I thought about songs from our own repertoire in our little side hustle, the two of us, and thought of this song, which is called Violence in the Silence. Melvin, you want to say quick something about it before you sing it for us?
Okay. Well, this song, this song is one of the original songs that Micah wrote, and I kind of helped him a little bit with it. It's sort of like a call to action for social justice, anything that is going on in our world that you have fear about. This is a chance for us to use our voices to ring out and sing out, speak out, talk out, whatever your avenue of communication is. Use it. Use your voice. That's what this song is about. There's violence in the silence, in the closing of our eyes. There's violence in the silence, in the shock and the surprise. There's violence in the silence, and the voices that we shun. There's violence in the silence, in the killing of our sons. There is violence in the silence of the privileged and the safe. There's violence in the silence of the ones who say behave. Yes, there is violence in the silence of the pulpit that condones. There's violence in the silence of the mouth that's full of stone. So let's raise our voice and sound the alarm. Stand together, arm in arm. Let's raise our voice and raise it now and cry aloud. Oh, violence in the silence of the ones who say obey. There's violence in the silence of the ones who say just pray. Yes, there is violence in the silence, in the heavy price we pay. There's violence in the silence that says we'll be okay. So let's raise our voice and sound the alarm. Stand together, arm in arm. Let's raise our voice and raise it now and cry aloud. Oh my God. So let's raise our voice and sound the alarm. Stand together, arm in arm. Let's raise our voice and raise it now and cry aloud. Oh, yes, there's violence in the silence. There's violence in the silence. Yes, there's violence in the silence. There's violence in the silence. There's violence in the silence.
So there's a lot of violence in the world right now. There's a lot of folks in need of healing, a lot of folks in need of a prayer, in need of a doctor, in need of that strength and that support that comes from community. Typically in our congregation, we read the names who we are thinking of week by week who are in need of healing in the spirit of doing things a little differently. I hope you'll say those names aloud or in your heart as we pray these words of El Na Rafana La together, the words that Moses prayed for his sister Miriam when she was ill, and words which healed her in her time of need. So this past few days, I've been thinking a lot about Israel, and for those of you who have been watching the news, you know what took place there just a few, almost hours ago, 24 hours ago or so, but it doesn't even feel like it's past a day or two when 2 people, now 3, were killed when they were sitting at a pub on a Thursday night in Tel Aviv on Dizengoff Street. And I say all those details because for me, as somebody who's lived in Israel for so long and so many times, Dizengoff Street is a place I would have been so often. Thursday night is the night I would have gone out so many times to sit in front of that pub, not that exact one, but one just like it, and to have a terrorist come and disrupt that peace, that joy, that relaxation that comes in Israel with the evening in Tel Aviv on Dizengoff Street is something that's hard to take. And I was thinking about Hatikva, our national anthem, the Jewish people's national anthem, and its closing words, Lihiot Am Chofshi, to be a free nation. And the idea of being a free nation sounds great, but it's not something that we get to just say we've stepped over the line and all of a sudden now we're free. It's something that we have to maintain, something that we have to keep up. It's something that requires our constant attention. And when the world gets scary, when there's invasions, when there's murder, when there's all kinds of awfulness, we could say that we want to close in, that we want to somehow retract from the world. But to be a free people doesn't just mean to ensure our own freedom. It means that we are responsible for the freedom of others, That to be a free people doesn't mean that we are just the only ones free in the entire world. That's not really freedom. To be a free people means that we are a people, the Jewish people throughout the world, seeking and working for the freedom of others, so that one day, and maybe it would happen on Passover, we can sit around a table and say that we are truly free, and that next year everyone can truly be in Jerusalem together.
I think this song follows very much in that spirit. Those who are familiar with the last couple of sentences of the Aleinu prayer, Bayom Hahu Yehiyeh Adonai Echad, on that day, God will be one. And so this song is called On That Day.
There will come a day when we shall live as one. Oh, come a day together as one. There will come a day we shall all be one. Oh, come a day when we shall all be one. On that day, will you join me on that day? On that day, stand beside me on that day. We will dance, we will sing, we will dance and we will sing. On that day, on that day, want to join me on that day. On that day, stand beside me on that day. We will laugh and we will smile. We will know peace a little while. On that day, 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 may we live to see that day. May we live to see that day. May we work to see that day. May we dare to dream that day. May we live to see that day arise.
Rabbi Spike.
Friends, Mourner's Kaddish, we have at the end of the service in part to bring the names and the memories of those who we have loved so much and have meant so much to us to our forefront. Theologically, there's an idea that when we say their name at certain times of year, they have what's called an aliyat nefesh, an ascent of soul. Psychologically, we know that when we say their name at certain times of year, we're flooded with memory. The two are not mutually exclusive. We can have both at the same time. We are, as a community, focused on those folks who are in Shiva, families of Selma Shapiro and Lumila Coven, Shloshim, Fernella Kupnik, Milton Adesnik, Michael Aronson, Donald Holler. Yard sites for Thomas Bohr, Hilford Bossick, Sitta Brandenburg, Michael Bronner, Morton Shaloff, Elaine Kojak, Ray Cypress, John Dunn, Gisela Froelich, Valentina Fishbein, Sol Gilman, Dorothy Grazier, Stephen Greenberg, Joseph Hinnerfeld, Lena Isaacson, Harry Isaacson, David Jablow, David K. Baker, Jim Klein, Paul Leff, Sidney Lerner, Benjamin Lewitt, Marjorie Lubin, Bill Mandel, Howard May, Lawrence Mittenthal, Mitchell Needle, Libby Presson, Ellen Rollins, Faye Rosenthal, Sarah Rosenthal, Bertha Schwartz, Doris Shapira, Leonard Shapiro, Joseph Shatta, Mildred Siegel, Sidney Silvers, Rose Sonnenschein, Suzanne Spilker, Doris Steiner, Michael Thomas, Ida Turner, Michael Zelizer, Dorothy Zelizer. In addition, we recall the Israelis who died yesterday in the terrorist attack, childhood friends Itam Megani and Tomer Murad, both 27 years old. They sat together in that pub waiting for friends. Itam had just gotten engaged last month to his girlfriend of 6 years, as well as Barak Lufin, who died today of his injuries. He was the kayaking and Paralympic coach, a father of 3, age 35. If you are observing in the first 30 days of mourning, the Shloshim period, I'd ask you to rise now, either in the sanctuary or at home, and be recognized. Please remain standing. If you're in the first year of mourning, a loved one's passing, we ask you to rise now and be recognized. If you are commemorating the yard site, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing this Shabbat, we ask you to rise now and be recognized. If it is your custom to rise in solidarity, or for the 6 million who have no one to say Kaddish for them, we ask that you do so now. Rabbi Max, what page is?
598.
598 is the mourner's Kaddish. I'd ask that you picture the person you're saying Kaddish for. Picture them at their best, healthy, hale, and strong. And now, in your mind's eye, have their eyes turned towards you. Your eyes meet theirs. And together, you slowly smile. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, ve'almad yivrach hirotei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, Pagalav Izman Kari Vimru Amen. Ehe Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Ulamei Omaya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitraman V'yitnaseh. V'yitadar V'yitala V'yitala Shmei D'Kudsha Richu. Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata. Tush V'charta V'nechamata. Damiram B'yama V'yimru Amen. Ehe Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom b'imru mav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen.
Oh, say shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'kol Yisrael, oh, ve'imeru, amen.
Be seated. It was a beautiful reflection for Kaddish. Thank you, Rabbi Spike. We're going to do a closing song. We just want to thank you for your open spirits and your generous attention and your participation. We really appreciate it. And we're torn, so I want to tell you the 2 closing songs that we could sing, and maybe we just do a congregational votes. The congregational votes really bring people together. Okay, so you can choose between Osei Shalom, and I know you're flying blind here, or I Lift My Eyes, which is a setting of Psalm 121. So raise your hand if you want to do another Oseh Shalom. You seem to be in the minority, but we'll just confirm. Raise your hand if you want to do I lift my eyes to the mountains. They're raising their hands higher, but I can't quite tell.
I can't tell.
All right.
Let's go with Oseh Shalom. It's a favorite of mine.
All right. In deference
Yeah.
to Let's get the violins
Oseh
Shalom, shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom. Oseh shalom, shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'nu amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom. Oseh shalom, shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'nu amen. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'nu amen.
Oseh shalom, shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom.
Oseh shalom, shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'nu amen. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody.